How many copies did you make? I made 20 of half pages. Yeah, I turned it. Oh. Is it good?
Hi, everybody. I think we're going to get started now. So thank you for coming. We are here to talk about the question, who am I in a digital world? And the two folks presenting, Stella and Tom, are actually English 102 students, and they have this theme as a research question, and each of them have taken like a branch underneath that question that's interesting to them. And as I mentioned earlier, this session is going to be a workshop, which means that the presenters are going to give you some information about their research, some of their findings that they think are really interesting, in order to get you started in a conversation. And so they're going to pose some questions to you and ask you to discuss these questions. And then once the discussion time is over, they're going to ask you to share with the group what you discussed. And it doesn't have to be some like earth-shattering, profound realization. It could be something very simple. We just want to know what you all talked about. And maybe as a group, like collectively together, we might come to some new realizations or just hopefully think something new about this subject. So that's the plan. So the presenters, Stella and Tom, are only going to be talking to you for a short while, maybe like five minutes, 6 minutes. And the rest of the time is going to be you discussing. And then we'll talk together as a class, or I guess not a class, as a group. Okay? So I think Stella is going to start.
Yes.
Stella.
All right. How are you guys today? Good. Well, good, thank you. Well, my name is Stella Spiro, and I'm a freshman, and this is my second semester here at GRCC, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about who am I in a digital world. So I've narrowed down the broad topic to social media addiction, specifically how we can become addicted to social media. Before I state some facts, I'm going to tell you why social media addiction is important. Social media is used on a daily basis, and it's a part of our everyday life. And also, social media is very versatile. It can be used as a news source or as entertainment. So you can look up the weather or some politics news on your Facebook feed, or you can just watch those funny cat videos. I don't know about you guys, but I love social media. I love to post, like, share, and retweet, all of that. Oftentimes, I find myself logging into Facebook when I should be doing my homework. And that's one of the beginning stages of a problematic relationship with social media. Going onto social media isn't a bad thing, but when it disrupts your work, it's a problem. I easily get distracted when a notification pops up into my laptop or phone. I hate those pesky red notification dots over the app, so I always want to go in and just get rid of it. And while I get rid of those notifications, I always find myself scrolling through the feed just quickly. And that process usually takes up about 10 minutes of my time, just because you've got to check everything out. Going onto social media when I should be doing my homework is a constant struggle for me, because I get distracted when a notification pops up. And I feel an urge to get rid of it when it gets on my screen. According to the New York Times, apps like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram purposely keep notifying you to get you back onto their site. So don't feel too bad when you waste 10 minutes of your time scrolling through your feed. We can't help it, or can we? Social media addiction starts with those reinforcements like notifications. According to the psychologist, social media addiction happens from the constantly changing feeds also. The psychologist also states that web designers purposely change the design of their apps to keep their users not bored. An example would be like Twitter a couple months ago changing the notification bar from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, or like today, the update for the Snapchat app, they changed the design of their app, if you guys have seen that. So yeah, and I also find myself when Twitter, the new update came out, I was on the Twitter app way longer than I should have because I just thought I was seeing new things. And the psychologist also states that social media sites always promote new pages or items just to change the scenery. Have any of you guys noticed a promoted post on Instagram or Facebook? Yeah? They do that for a reason. They do that to A, make money, and to B, for the user to click onto their site and for them just to stay on their site longer. And remember how I said that notifications act as reinforcements? Those notifications reinforce your brain to keep going onto the site. And since social media is a fairly positive experience, since it's a fairly positive experience, a neurotransmitter is released from your brain. Does anyone know what that neurotransmitter is called? Dopamine, yes. And dopamine is released by reward-motivated behavior, according to the help guide. So those small notifications can have a big impact on your brain. And once checking the notifications become a habitual thing, it can be considered an addiction. Social media is a two-way street, the web designer and the user. And as a user, we should try to limit our time on social media, and we can solve the notification problem by going onto our phone or laptop and physically turning off the notifications for the social media app. Or we can make a drastic change by deleting the social media app altogether, but that's not the route I want to take. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about what I talked about social media addiction? All right, I have a handout for you guys, and on the handout I have some interesting facts about why we are glued onto our screen, and then also I have 3 questions for you guys to discuss with your group. We kind of are in groups, and one of the questions is, why do people keep using social media when they know it's addictive? What makes you go back into social media if you have an account? And what would society look like in 5 to 10 years if people keep using social media in an addictive way? And then on the back I have my works cited, and I have a little photo of the brain of what happens when dopamine is released. So I'm going to pass these out. I think we're going to wrap up this discussion. Does anyone want to share I guess we're going to go through group to group, and then we're going to share something, a really important thought that you guys had in your discussion. So we're going to start with this group. What did you guys discuss about? And what question did you answer the most, had the most time on? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, pressure.
Yeah.
We talked about mostly what makes you go back onto social media if you have an account, and how it's kind of like a double-edged sword, like whether or not it's good or bad. Like, people might be on social media and avoiding the world around them, but while they're on social media, they're connecting with someone that might be important to them. They might be catching up on news. So the availability of social media kind of makes it, I don't know, it's like a trade-off.
Yes. I agree. Do you guys everyone share, or are you guys good? Yeah. We're just going to go to the next group. Who wants to be the spokesperson for this group? All right.
Okay, so we talked about a lot of things. One of the things that we talked about was the first question. We confirmed that we've experienced this whole thing with the updates. Oh, wait, that wasn't related to the first question, was it? Oh, okay, that was the second question. So the Snapchat updates, we were talking about that and how these different platforms change the look of the platform or the function in order for you to feel like it's new and exciting still. Mm-hmm. And that's the only purpose really for doing it. And that was kind of creepy. And then we also talked about the last question, what would society be like? And we were kind of concerned about how the trend now where people use the likes in order to manipulate people to like their stuff. So say I use the example of being a graphic artist, and I post my work, and then other graphic artists like my work in order for me to go to their page and like their work, and how it's kind of manipulated and false. And so we were kind of wondering if that will change people's, the authenticity of people's relationships in the future if we continue with this trend. And lots of other stuff that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was thought-provoking. Do you guys want to share what you discussed, or? Okay. Do you guys want to share? Anyone wants to be the spokesperson?
I guess so.
Okay.
All right, so we talked about the last question, where would society be in 5 to 10 years? We already decided that society now, when you go out to dinner or you see other people at dinner, they are both on their phones. They're not spending time with each other. And I feel like in 5 to 10 years, it's kind of a scary thing that it could be even worse than what it is now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we talked about.
Thank you. Do you guys, who wants to be the spokesperson? Anyone? You? Yeah? Yeah? All right.
We talked about basically everything on here, but more or less we talked about how, how easy it is for people to get drawn into all the platforms that they have, like Instagram, how they the videos automatically play for you, and even when you don't want to watch it, it'll just play for you, and then all of a sudden you're drawn into that, and how a lot of the platforms are kind of tied into each other, like with the updates and everything, such as like stories with Instagram and I believe even Facebook just added that update, and like obviously Snapchat.
Yeah.
But basically how all these social media platforms are just tied in together. So what we like, we're able to see all that and experience that in every single platform. So it's easy for us to get sucked into it, and yeah.
Yeah,
So.
time consuming, definitely. Thank you. Who wants to be the spokesperson of this group? Sure. All right.
We mainly talked about the question number 2. We all kind of agreed that at this point it's just a habit to check our social media. So we wake up and we check it. If we're bored, we check it. When you go to bed, you check it.
Yeah.
And also FOMO plays a big part in that. Like you just want to keep up to date on like what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you. Do you guys want to share what you guys talked about, or? Okay.
Yeah, I think that social media, everything is coming through social media in this time. Information, news, and something else. The benefits is we can find some information very quick, faster than we really didn't expect. But the other thing is when we try to get some information, our focus sometimes is getting to be lost because many information is coming, and sometimes we try to get some information we really want, but because a lot of information is coming, sometimes we go in different way
Right.
and lose
Be
time
distracted, yeah.
distracted in different
Definitely.
things. Yes.
I definitely experienced that. All right. Thank you, guys. Does anyone else have any questions or anything else you guys want to share? You good? All right. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Tom Brown, and I am here to discuss who am I in the digital world. I do have my phone for notes. I'm not looking at social media, I swear. Okay, so let's jump into this. What I chose for my topic was how does social media influence our eating behaviors and eating disorders? I believe that if we're aware of how we are susceptible to post about food choices and body image, that we can use that knowledge to work towards improving poor eating behaviors and focus on creating healthier lifestyles. Social media is a great platform for people expressing their lifestyle. People can share at many aspects of their lives to their friends or family. One of those aspects people approach is how to live a healthier lifestyle. People do this by sharing what they eat, diets that they follow, how they exercise, or tips on their weight loss journey. It may be true that if we took out our phones right now on any social media platform, that within a few minutes or less, we'd find a post about food, food choices, trends, or diets. Or we'd find someone someone in their fitness journey about how much weight they've lost, or progress pictures, or what dietary practices they've been following. We're exposed to this on a day-to-day basis, and we should learn how this affects our eating choices. Blogs related to exercise tend to think of food as fuel or nutrient-dense for replenishing our bodies, while blogs about recipes may talk about, the people who follow blogs about recipes may talk about the more indulgent and pleasurable side to eating food. While these online trends can be regarded as harmless and uncontroversial, much more serious and negative occurrences exist. Social media's presence in everyday life is so large that individuals now care about the opinions of people that they've never met before. With the increased use of social media among peers, it has been increasingly difficult to avoid the constant peer pressure surrounding the ideal body type. Anorexia, bulimia, and other serious disorders have now reached a pinnacle among online adolescents. Despite efforts to raise awareness of dangers of extreme weight loss and eating disorders, pro-anorexia and pro-bulimia communities are flourishing online, and the amount of young girls and boys with eating disorders is increasing. Some have social media to blame. These websites construct eating disorders as a lifestyle choice instead of then a disorder. Users share risky weight loss tips, provide tips for covering behaviors from peers, family, and healthcare workers. And then they share, perhaps, thinspiration images to enthuse further weight loss. Becoming aware of the influence social media has on our self-image is one of the first steps towards solving this problem. We should learn how posts about food and images make us feel, finding ways to disconnect from material that may guilt us, reinforce destructive eating, or make us feel ashamed about ourselves. This is an interesting piece of information that I found. Social networking sites are available for viewing content, creating, and editing 24/7 on mobile devices, anywhere, anytime, allowing for exponentially more surveillance of pictures of disliked body parts than we are ever available with the conventional mass media. So I just have a few things to share with you, a few things that I found while doing my research. I'll pass this out to everyone as well. What I found is that social media itself is not to blame for developing an eating disorder. Eating disorders are caused by a multitude of factors that influence someone to engage in destructive eating habits. These factors include biological, physiological, and environmental components that increase a person's likelihood that they will be diagnosed with an eating disorder. According to research, media is a causal risk factor for the development of eating disorders and has a strong influence on persons' body dissatisfaction, eating patterns, and poor self-concept. Negative self-image, and specifically negative self-talk, has been connected with eating disorder severity. Greater average of negative self-talk predicted greater frequency of purging, greater attempts to restrict eating, and increased in overall eating disorder severity. Facebook may be linked to that kind of negativity, or at least that dissatisfaction with one's life. A 2013 study by the University of Michigan showed that the more time someone spent on Facebook, typically the worse they felt about their lives. So what I leave with you is just a couple questions. I'll pass these out for everyone. All right, so what the questions are is, how has social media affected your self-image? Has it affected it positively, negatively, or in a different way? Did it empower you, or did it make you feel bad about yourself? And then, has social media ever dictated whether you ate or skipped a meal? And the second question is, in what ways does social media affect your decisions to eat? Do you look for certain recipes, trends, diets, anything that pulls you in? All right, if everyone can finish up those final thoughts, we'll begin passing around a microphone. Start with this group over here. Dedicated spokesperson. All right, there you go.
So for our group, we discussed that social media can affect people in different ways. So for me personally, social media hasn't really affected my body image in a positive or a negative way. It's kind of indifferent. it's just like sometimes I feel more positive about my body when I look through my feed, and sometimes I feel more self-conscious about like just how people post. So if people post like if it's skinny girl like on a beach, I kind of like feel a little bit more negative about myself. But when it's like someone like any size is like confident about their body, it just makes me feel more confident. So yeah.
We also kind of said that social media is basically what you make it. So if you make social media something that hurts your body image, then I guess that's what you make it. And social media itself might not be hurting your body image, but the way you feel about it is what's hurting your body image.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Would you like to share? Okay.
In fact, social media personality doesn't affect to me no, not positive, not negative. And in some occasions, yeah, I look in some recipes for different foods, and but it's just to know different costumes from different countries.
Okay.
But doesn't affect it all to me.
Good. Thank you. This back group here. Wish to share?
So we were kind of discussing self-image as a whole, a little bit unrelated to body image, in the fact of like on social media, seeing multiple people at a time achieving so many different things, and how that can kind of be a negative reflection on yourself of like, what am I doing? Like, I need to keep up with, I need to be better. I need to be doing more things because all these people have all these achievements that they're showing you. And then we did kind of touch on whether we eat more or skip meals, and all of us kind of felt like we end up eating more because we're foodies and like recipe videos, and when people are talking about certain food topics, like it kind of stimulates you to think about those things, and kind of on their lines of like, it is what you make it. If you have a trouble with an addiction or eating disorder already, and then you're exposed to all these different things, it can have a negative impact, but it just kind of depends on your mindset.
All right. Go from here.
I think we talked more about self-image and stuff, and like when you have friends that are bodybuilders and stuff like that, just to see, it makes you feel happy that you're friends with them. Maybe we kind of got off topic, which was so we didn't really focus on the questions too much.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone from here?
That's okay. Okay, so we again talked about lots of things, but one that it was really interesting was we were talking about the standards for women. Like, I feel like the topic, usually people talk about it in terms of women, like these standards that are false because of like people edit the photos and stuff. But then we're also talking about steroid use and how that isn't always healthy either, and how there's this like false standard for men's bodies too, like what it is to be muscular. And so people use steroids in order to reach this false standard. And so our conversation kind of reflected that these ideas of what's good, this like body image that's good, there is a falseness to both the women's side and the men's side, but we don't really talk about the men's side as much as the women's side, I don't think. So.
All right. And last group.
We all felt that social media didn't really affect us personally, but we have seen how it's affected other people in their self-image or decisions to eat. I said how I'm really interested in cooking and stuff. So whenever I'm on Facebook and see like a BuzzFeed video about this new recipe that takes 5 minutes, I'm always like, oh, let me go try it now. So yeah, it does I feel like it kind of pushes me to try new things, and even though they might not be the healthiest or might claim to be healthy.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And I believe that concludes this talk. Great. Thank you.